Well, hi everybody. I'm giving it just a minute because we've got the phone, so we're seeing what the lag is. But I think we've made contact. Let us know if you hear us out there.
Yeah, I'm monitoring.
Oh, that's right. You can hear. Never mind. I guess we
Yes.
know we can hear. So hey, it's George the Antique Nomad, and
Zeno.
yes, Xenomorph is with us tonight, and we thought we would come to you live because we haven't done that for about a month, and we actually turned on last night to watch Flippin' and Sippin', and there wasn't any, so we thought, well, shoot, there ought to be something over the weekend, and we thought, well, we'll just come on live and have a little fun, and we have a few things to talk about, but no real agenda, so.
Well, you do have some stuff.
I've got some stuff. Yeah, we have some show and tell, a bunch of friend mail that I have been sitting on for a long time, which is kind of embarrassing. So definitely looking forward to seeing what that is. I haven't opened it yet. And let's see. Well, we could start off with a really short haul video from this morning.
Is it a haul?
Well, it's a very small haul. We went to exactly one thrift store this morning. And
Oh, yes.
Yes, and it's a store that I've actually shown in video before, but they have moved and they have a bigger facility, but they're only open 3 days a week, 3 hours each day. So we went in there and they had a bunch of cool old stuff, but the things
Well, has anyone seen the short or the reel or what else? Or the TikTok or whatever? We put it all out on everything today, and George was in front of a very large crock.
The biggest crock I've ever seen. 50 gallons, and then you walk 5 feet, and they had another one, and it was 60 gallons. I mean, I don't even know how you're supposed to get that thing up on that stand they had it on. I mean, even not full. Can you imagine with 60 gallons of something in there?
I guess they're not
crazy.
concerned about anybody stealing it.
I guess not,
No.
since it weighs more than a human being. Congratulations on winning the thrift battle. Well, thank you so much. For those of you folks who didn't get to see, I did end up winning the thrift battle. I won in the 5th round. It came right down to the wire, and I won because of well, I'll show you really quickly.
Oh yeah, that's right, because we were going to bring that up, and then someone else did it for us. So
yes, that's right. So if you didn't see it, the winning item consisted of this Letterman's jacket, plus some other stuff, a coat rack and a picture of the star, because this is all, there we go, yeah. This is all from Northern Exposure. So for those of you who didn't get to see the final, I'll just hold it up. You don't have to see me. Here we go. So it's the Letterman's jacket that Barry Corwin had in his cabin when he was the mayor of Sicily, Alaska on television. And so, since it was a movie prop, that just barely put me over the top. But I've got to say, Kat, the nurse flipper, boy, she was formidable and great competition, and we had a lot of fun. So,
yeah, George thought that she was going to win, and she thought that George was going to win.
And she was right. So, thank you, Kat.
Well, Tiger, he said, when do you ever not win the thrift battle?
Well,
so it hasn't happened.
I guess you have to win every one to get to the end, and I managed to do it somehow, but I lost lots of rounds in the middle, so it was a nail biter, but it was lots of fun.
Don't you think that, I mean, I suspect that people sort of plan it out to get a 5 rounds every time.
I don't know.
I haven't watched every one of them.
Kat's got so much stuff that she just lays it out there, and she was winning a lot of hers in like round 3, just boom, boom, boom. Okay, I'm done. I'm going off to go shipping. You know, so it was daunting, but
right.
But we managed it. So thank you for all of you who watched. It was great fun, and. Let's see. Yes,
what
it
else
was
is it
a white knuckle ride. What else has been going on?
For the month. We haven't been live in a month, or you haven't been live in a month.
Oh gosh, a lot's happened in the last month. We did the big Springfield Antique Extravaganza in Ohio and met a lot of YouTubers, and you've probably seen a bunch of video from a bunch of different channels about that. And that was great. And then the week after, I went to Pennsylvania and did an appraisal fair at the Burning Bridge. Well, actually, they were the sponsors. It was in a different facility, but in Columbia, Pennsylvania, which is a fascinating and neat little town that's turning into a big antiques destination. So I did the appraisal fair, and then they stayed open late that night, and I got to go shopping and actually Jocelyn from Crazy Lamp Lady and Dagny from Flying Pig Thrifts came for the late shopping, so we got to do that together. Then they came back the next week and did a meet and greet there. We did a meet and greet at Springfield, met a lot of nice people there, and it's just been a really fun but very busy summer. And I have to say, I'm not a big drinker, but I did make one to say cheers to me for actually getting my work done. I have been really, really grinding away since the beginning of May. I knew this summer was going to be really busy, and I knew that I was so overloaded with projects that it was going to be really hard to get through them all. I just finally got my last big appraisal job done tonight, and it's sort of embarrassing that it's taken all summer, but there's just been so much going on. So I feel good that we're kind of catching up. The van did get fixed. For those of you who saw that, yes, I hit an obstruction on the way to pick up a wonderful little collection of Holt Howard and related items. And I ended up puncturing the transmission housing. And fortunately, I pulled over in time to watch all of the fluid drain into the gutter and have it towed, and then switch everything out of that van to a truck and get the rest of the way to the antique show in Springfield and stay up half the night setting up. So it was a marathon, and a lot of things have been. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, but boy, there's been a lot of it. So it's nice to feel like a lot of stuff is under wraps and I'm getting to where I'm current, so it's a nice feeling.
Right. What is your shirt? What is the shirt? That's your cousin's.
The shirt.
For cousins, right?
Yes, this is my cousin. Okay, so this is a genuine Victorian advertisement for this Allerton. It's basically embalming fluid for preserving the dead, so it's quite macabre, but you know, we are in October, and he actually sells these on Redbubble. So if you go to Curb Digger Carl on redbubble.com, you can see his designs. He likes to take old graphics and turn them into t-shirts, and because I'm into vintage stuff, it works out pretty well. He does a lot of things that are like
Greek. It's in Greek at the top.
Yes, that's right. It's in Greek at the top. He likes to do a lot of things that are like the covers of Pulp Fiction novels from the 50s, which just give me I get a big kick out of them. Let's see, Sean Blevins is asking, do you know how fast Springfield fills up for vendors for next year? That place is infinitely huge. It is a giant, giant, giant fairgrounds, and they just keep expanding and expanding and expanding. So I think there were probably 1,500 or maybe close to 2,000 vendors at this last show. They could probably fit another 1,000 vendors on top of it because they just have fields and fields and fields and a racetrack they could fill. You know, you don't have to get your application in real early, but if you want to get a good spot in a more permanent place, then the sooner is better.
Well, and the chaos.
Yes, there is the chaos. That show is really fun. It's turned out to be a great place for a lot of people to come and meet because it's in such a central location. So a lot of other YouTube content creators came, a lot of viewers came. I know a lot of folks are coming back either in May or more likely in September for the big one then. But the way the show is managed is quite chaotic. So if you haven't done the show before and you think you're going to, send me an email because there's some tips I can give you to make your experience easier. It's very hard to be a new person at that show the first time until you figure it out because they're...
You mean because of the logistics of it?
The organization is greatly lacking. We'll just put it that way. I've been assigned to booths that had someone already set up in the middle of them. I've been assigned to booths where I was then told, oh no, the number changed, that's not your booth. There's a host of stories that lots of dealers can tell about, you know, having to work things out at the last minute because things weren't really too prepared. So there is that, but it's a great show. Jeanette Nance is here and she came and visited. It was really neat to meet her. She says she came in the back door. That sounds about right. So, let's see here. Oh, Twist of Fate says that you're familiar with Redbubble because you got your smart-ass Christmas cards there last year. Well, that's interesting. I have not actually explored the site. I didn't realize they did other stuff, but I guess it's... What was that?
That's funny. Just as someone said, love the ambience of the lighting, it fell off.
Oh, well, It was lovely lighting while we had it. Anyhow, now we're going to see his best side. And the
Are we?
Anyhow, we are going to get that fixed while we talk a little bit more, because I think the lighting's really cool too. So we'll get it back in a minute here.
Well, you can't wiggle too much on the back of the sofa because I have it lying back here. So,
oh, I see.
so
Okay.
Don't bounce around too much.
I'll try not to bounce around. So let's see. Zeno looks like Secret Service tonight. Yes, he does. He's got that. He's got the earbuds and he's got the glasses and the dark shirt. Yes, exactly. My bodyguard.
I have to keep him in line.
Yeah, well, good luck. But let's see. Gosh, there's so many neat people here, and I wish I had said hello to all of you. There's so many in the chat now. I'll never get to all of you. But
ass Zeno. Did I just stick it right in front of everyone?
Well, we all got a look. Yes. Gosh, there's a bunch of folks in here I haven't seen before, and it's nice to see all of you too. Lost tapes in my basement. That's fun. Z3V, D's Fenton. Interesting.
D's glass.
D's glass. I want to buy D's glass. Yes.
Yes. It was eye candy. Thank you.
Yes. Secret agent man. Well, anyhow, we are just gonna.
Someone said that they dropped Fenton and gluing it back together.
Yeah, that sounds unfun. That will be a bit of a chore. Hey Phil, nice to see you here. We just signed up for Whatnot. Are we crazy? Garden Magic
signed
is
up
asking.
To sell or to?
I think they're saying to sell.
Yeah.
I don't think it's crazy. I signed up for it really early. I've only done it a few times and I haven't been back to do it again lately. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I will be honest with you. In some categories, it's developing fast enough where they're getting retail prices. And in some categories, it's honestly a great place to go as a shopper rather than a seller because things are selling really cheap. So I think it really depends on what you have to sell and how you're going to use the platform, whether it makes sense. We kind of got a little cold on it because they were doing this great thing with the shipping that was really inexpensive for our viewers and easy, and then that went away. And so
well, I was the one that was pushing him to do it because actually he got accepted back like in December and like whatever 10 months ago. And would we do like 3 sales?
3 sales, I think, yeah. And they all went fine.
Well, you did 2 back before the big rush of people came.
Right.
And it was okay.
It was fine.
You had to sort of know what to pick for the customer.
If it all depends on your situation too. A lot of folks who are mainly selling online, Whatnot is a great outlet because you may have things that I just need to get rid of this. I'm going to take what I can get and move on. And like I said, prices in some categories are kind of low, but it's a great place to say, you know what, I'm willing to sell this and flip it and move on. Certain categories, things sell better, so really study your categories before you sell, I guess would be my advice.
Well, and I would say they've done 2 extravaganzas now, and that's not a really good indicator, I don't think, of what, just coming in with a sale at any time is, because that gets really heavily promoted. It gets a lot of, redirecting from one sale to the next, and just look and see what people are getting. That's what I would say.
Oh, I see. Lisa is here, and she says she sent the appraisal info about the creepy rocks we just talked about an hour ago. And yes, she found some really neat old painted rocks that were done as souvenirs, probably in England, but we're going to find out. I haven't seen the pictures yet, so I am looking forward to seeing that too. Phil, we were talking about Whatnot. Yes, Sean is right. It is very fast-paced, and that's actually a good thing about it. If you'd like to sell a lot of things fairly quickly without a lot of fuss, it's a good way to do it. For me, honestly, again, the prices I was getting for the stuff I was putting on, I can get those prices in other places without having to ship, so it wasn't as useful to me. But if I was selling in certain categories, like coins, for example, are a great category on Whatnot, and they sell at retail price because everybody kind of knows what that is. Costume jewelry seems like it's doing okay. I know Kat, the nurse flipper, is using it to sell certain things. I think she'd be a good person to look and see what she's selling and what she's getting for it, because she's pretty savvy about all that, so that'll give you a little bit of an indication. So, you know, those are some things you can do if you're interested in all that.
Yeah, it really did change, though, when that dollar shipping went away.
Yeah, that was such a great deal. And we knew it wouldn't last forever because people were abusing it. You know, they were selling a feather for the regular shipping, and then a bowling ball would be the next item, and they were lumping it in, you know, for $1. And that just, yeah, Whatnot wasn't going to be able to survive on that model too long. Let's see, so...
Delphina's asking me if I sell anything, and no, I don't. I don't, I mean, no. I'll occasionally sell some random thing I'm not using anymore on eBay, but I don't sell for income.
Right, right. He kind of takes care of, you know, as we go through various generations of tech equipment, then they filter out and end up on eBay. In fact, we've got a bunch of that to list. So if any of you need a GoPro, we've probably got one.
An old one.
Yes, that's right. Corrine is here. Hi, nice to see you. She just did the show in Spokane. I was sorry to miss that, but she said she had a good show and that it did well, and I was really happy to hear that. I think it was her first time doing a show, or at least first time there, and there's been a bunch of other folks who are starting to do shows, and I think that's very exciting because the real world of antiques is a lot of fun too, and it's great to be able to bridge the two. I will say, this is the other thing about Whatnot for me. I can go to a show and sell 100+ items in a weekend without having to take a picture or ship anything. And that's part of what's nice about doing it live. And yes, there's a ton of work for setup, but when I look at the hours invested, honestly, the shows are less work for the amount of money, truthfully, for me at this point. Not that I'm not doing online stuff, I definitely am, but I just, you know, when people say, I don't know how anybody can do those shows, they're so hard, it's like, well, because it's pretty efficient, that's part of the reason.
It is, but it's a lot of work, and I think a lot of people probably like doing things at home, selling things at home, because it's more completely at their leisure.
Yeah. Well, and Miss Wildlife put a good thing. If you're on too many platforms, it's easy to burn out, and it's true. I mean, there is a limit to how many hours in the day and how many places. You don't have to be everywhere to be successful. You just have to figure out what it takes to be successful in a few areas. And I'm saying this as the voice of experience because over the years, part of the reason I'm spread out across the country is, you know, the model has changed. It used to be you really had to travel a lot to see different stuff. Well, then eBay came around and the stuff could come to you. But you still get to see more interesting stuff if you travel. But things are different. It used to be I could make all my money selling in the malls and everything else was gravy. Now everything else pays my bills and selling in the malls is the gravy. So things change.
I have to cough, hold on. Okay.
Okay. That was very polite. So let's see, we went to a little town called Cadiz today and did a little bit of filming because we're producing some bonus videos. And the good thing is that everybody's gonna get to see them. But it's also, we have a new Patreon where you can donate as little as $1 a month. But we wanted to do something for the folks doing that. And so for them, we're doing some of these bonus videos, and the Patreon donors are going to get early access, and then we get to roll it out to everybody. So it's something nice that we can do for everybody. And so we were filming some of that in Cadiz, Kentucky, where I've done some videos before. It's a great antiquing town. There's 3 antique malls, a good consignment store, a gift shop, some little shops. They have a junk fest.
Well, the Junk Fest is also combined with a farmer's market where a lot of Amish sell produce and stuff, and that's why we were there mainly. Yes. Well, and we got to see what the Junk Fest was like.
Yeah.
Which was more than I expected.
Yeah, and yet somehow very small still. So,
well, it's a small place.
I'm going to show you the hall because the hall was very tiny, but it's all right here, and it was very cheap. So, the Junk Fest produced this, which is tiny, tiny. Oh, there we go. We had it in focus. Okay.
Yeah, just keep it in the center.
Yep, that looks good. So this is a Coca-Cola bottle, and she had, it was funny, the vendor had a table and she had cigarette lighters and it said $3 each. So I picked it up and I gave her $3 and she said, oh, is that a lighter? And I thought that was funny considering it was hers. But yes, indeed, it is a lighter because you pull it out of the bottom and there it is. And it hasn't been used, it's never had a flint. These were popular in the 1950s and they sell for about $15 or $18 each online. And I sell just about any vintage Coca-Cola that I can find. So that was actually pretty good. And then...
Wait, so that's like officially Coca-Cola?
That is officially, They gave those out, yeah. Usually they gave them out to, see the bottling companies, it used to be a thing that people would go and tour the bottling plants and they would give little souvenirs. And sometimes it would be from the bottling plant, sometimes it would be a coupon for a discount on Coke in the store, or sometimes it'd be a key fob or a lighter or some little thing like that, so.
Soda bottle collection.
I have a soda bottle collection. I like soda bottles. A friend of mine in Washington collects soda bottles, and there are some really interesting ones. Speaking of Coca-Cola, Curb Digger Carl, my cousin who does these shirts, he goes by Curb Digger Carl because he's been a big bottle digger for years, and he found a bottle in oh gosh, just an empty parking lot. He had to dig about a foot for it in Florida. And it was a straight-sided Coke bottle with the diamond on it, which dates to about 1910, and it was from St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg only had 7,000 people in 1910, so they're actually very, very hard to find, and it's worth about $100. So, there might be treasure right under your feet. You never know. Okay, so the other things, and like I say, it was a small haul.
This is the thrift store?
This was the thrift store. I got 3 items. I paid a total of $8. This is one of them. This is Bristol glass. Bristol glass was made in both England and America, and you see it is painted on all sides.
It's a square, Bristol.
It's a square. They're usually round, exactly. I thought it was an interesting, you can see I peeled off it was $5 and then it was half off. So it was $2.50 plus tax. It's got all of this enamel beading. Those little dots are all raised, kind of like moriage in the Japanese porcelain, but this is of course on glass. And Bristol has never sold for as much as I think it could, but you can see it's old. You can see all the wear on the bottom. Because it was made in both the United States and America, it's hard to really have good scholarship on which is which because they all look the same. They were all copying each other. Well, let's be honest. We were copying them. And so you can't tell the American from the English. And so it's never really caught on as a big collectible, but yet this is 140 years old. And it cost me $2.50. So I had to have it for that price. It'll be happy to go with somebody and heck, if I sell it for $20, it'll be a bargain for a collector, and it was just a cool piece.
Wait, did that too?
And this was the other thing that came. Willie Joe says that they like Bristol, and I do too. I always have. I just think it's always been a sleeper, and it's, to be able to collect something that's truly over a century old, a true antique, and get it for that kind of a price, it's amazing to me. It is not the easiest to sell, but if you decorate it right or style it right, you can sell the pieces and also price them right. And then this is Stangl. This is Stangl Pottery's fruit pattern, the United States and America, yes.
What did you say?
I'm not sure what I said. The United States of America,
well, the United
yes.
States are
the United
America.
States and Britain is what I meant. Oh, I bet I said it was made in the United States and America. That's what she's saying. I'm sorry, it was made in the United States and Britain. Britain is where the city of Bristol is. That's where it originated.
England?
Britain, England, yes. Bristol,
Okay.
England. Bristol,
The
England,
country of England.
and the United States, yes. Delphina, just shoot me an email about the lighter at theantiquenomad@gmail.com. That's going to be easier. And then the cream and sugar are Stangl in the fruit pattern. You can see the mark on the bottom. This was all made in New Jersey. It was all hand painted. They lasted until the late 70s, and the fruit pattern was one of their most desirable lines at the time. Everything is hand painted on it. You see the different fruit. Obviously, there were different fruit on each piece because this has plums and this has cherries and whatever is, I guess that's a peach. And so these were $4 and half
Maybe
off.
it's a nectarine.
Maybe a nectarine, yes. So, and yes, the inside of these is nice because, I'm glad Miss Wildlife mentioned that, we should show that because the insides are always done in this brown glaze and they're vitrified so that it won't leak. It won't make you sick, it's not full of lead. they were not into the lead way back when. And so, yeah, these are pretty cool, and they were a whopping $2.25 for the pair. So, one nice thing about shopping at thrifts is that you definitely, you know, you can find some deals. But
and I did go, and I did a pass after, because I'd never been in this thrift store, and I did a little pass after George went in, and I went immediately to things that I thought, why didn't he get that? Why didn't he get that? Why didn't he get that?
mm-hmm.
And they all had damage.
Yes. But I was impressed because everything you picked up and were like, hey, what about this, was something that I had looked at.
Well,
so
there were things
you're getting the eye.
There were, what? Really?
Yeah. I think so.
You weren't in the room when I was looking at things.
I know, that's what I mean.
There were Goebel birds.
They were great. They had a little chip on the beach.
What else? I'm trying to remember what else. Do you remember what else was there? What else was the deal? But I mean, would have been good, but you.
Oh, there was a Kanawa. I had it up at the desk. It was one of those.
Hat thing.
Yeah, it looks like a big. It's got a handle. They're amberina. They've got little round hobnails all around, and they tip down like a pitcher or a Jack in the Pulpit vase. And you see that piece around, and that was only $3. And I had it all the way to the counter when I saw that where the handle was attached was not good. And you really have to watch that with hand-blown glass pieces where they would apply the handle, because if they didn't get it on there really solidly, or the glass had cooled a little bit too much, it may not be well attached. So this is why he is your bodyguard. Yes, that's right.
So you only got 2 things?
So I got 3.
Oh, there we go again.
I got 3 things. I was just sitting here that time.
Well, we're gonna leave it because I don't want to keep like.
Sorry about the pretty colors, but next time we'll figure out. Maybe we'll get some Velcro and stick that on somewhere.
This is impromptu studio setup here.
Yes, yes.
This is not anything.
Do I have any luck with selling all different sets of salt and pepper shakers? Oh yes, I sure do. I have always sold them well. When I was really new in the business, a woman came in, she was in her 80s, and she said, I have been collecting since the 1950s, and I have 700 sets. Would you like to buy them? And I said, well, I can't afford 700 all at once. Well, she came in over the course of a year, about every 2 or 3 weeks, to a mall I worked at, and we'd buy a little and a little more and a little more, and I sold eventually all 700 of those sets. And so I've always looked at salt and pepper shakers. Treasure Craft, that was the first thing they did that was unique to them, was they came up with the idea of the themed ones, like a car pulling a trailer, or a rower in a canoe, or a pair of binoculars in a case. And that was a new concept. So then when I did the Treasure Craft book, I got re-interested in shakers, and always have been. So.
Wait, you mean?
Oh.
But they didn't do the little. But they weren't the first to do like squirrels and things.
No, but they were the first to do where it wasn't a matched pair, where it wasn't 2 exactly the same.
Oh, right, like the baseball and the mitt.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, Miss Wildlife, thank you for mentioning that. She said she's promoting my upcoming live. I will be doing a live on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with Heidi of Rosie's Auction House again. And we've got a few things that I've been holding back in the Fenton department, as well as other glass. And maybe a few non-glass things as well. We're going to kind of mix it up, but we should have a lot of fun with that. So I'm looking forward to that on Tuesday. Kansas City area, there's some new antique malls that are large on both sides of the state line and coming soon in Independence. Well, that's really good to hear. I'm glad to hear Kansas City is expanding in terms of antiques and vintage, because the other side of us, Louisville, has lost a lot, and Nashville has lost a lot. We're finding that the real estate prices are increasing in Nashville enough to where a lot of the antiques are getting pushed out, and the flea market got pushed out and is not the same as it was. So it's getting a little tougher in some of the growing cities to find places that are reasonable to sell antiques. That's why you see a lot of antique towns between major cities, because you can get there, but the real estate isn't big city prices, and it's a fun thing to do when you're traveling. So, yes. We should take a look at
Take a look.
Yeah, sorry, I'm being affected
Been a
by
long
what I
day.
hear. It has been a long day, but I wanted to do a little bit of friend mail because I've had some people who really have sent some over the last several months, one of the things that I got behind on and needed to be working on was there was a transition where the shipping and the stuff was all in different places and it all got moved into one building, which is such a huge improvement. And it's definitely nice not to have piles of stuff in the house. However, in the process of that, some viewer mail from quite a while ago got set at the bottom of the pile and just was discovered. So a couple of you folks, you may have quit even watching me because I never responded to your lovely gesture. So I'm going to try to make up for that now.
Then they're not watching now.
Well, that's right. But I know someone's watching now who sent this. So we'll start with this. This was the one I did open before and I really like this a lot. I might just keep this. I like this so much because it is Florida and these yellow and orange colors. This is a scarf right out of the 60s and this came from Beth. And Beth, I know you're out there watching. Thank you very, very much. This is really fun. This is definitely right up my alley and I just think this thing is so great. And her note said that it was from her death pile to mine and she hoped I sold it for millions, but I'm not sure I'm gonna sell it.
It's very fine.
I really like it. It's very thin acetate, yeah. Probably made in Japan at the time. And it's just great. And honestly, as far as dollar amounts go, in Florida, this would sell for $20 or $25 at least. So, so thank you. That was a very kind gift. I wanted to show this. It didn't come with the address. Well, it didn't come with the return address. It just came with my P.O. box. And I opened it up and it was $1 million, which is really nice. What this actually is it is a gospel tract. And it was very kind of someone to be concerned about my well-being here. I just want to let you know, because I know these things cost you money to send, and I don't know who sent it because they did it anonymously. I appreciate it very much. I'm in a good place with my spiritual relationship and everything is fine. And so you may want to spend your money sending these to someone else who could use it too, because I know it costs a lot to send that stuff out. But thank you very much for thinking well of me that way. And then this one came from Escondido, California. And I don't know who sent it. They didn't put a return address, but I see little things wrapped up in here. So let's take a look real quickly and see what we have here. Okay. This, do you want to open some of these? Because I don't know if everybody wanted to just sit here and watch me unwrap stuff.
Oh, it's tissue paper.
It's just tissue paper.
We opened boxes, but we didn't pre-unwrap things.
Oh, well, look at this guy. This is a little pin, and he is a clown. And he's actually a really fun clown. Let me put my hand behind it so he comes in. There we go. Yeah, he's got really deep enameling. That's really fun.
Okay, I think have you not had this before?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I have had so many versions of these owls. I have not had this exact one. And it's interesting, I know I just sent one to one of our viewers who's watching now.
It wants my face.
So, yeah, I'll get out of the way so it can...
There we go.
Wow, that's really neat. That is very cool. I am, oh, and thank you, Miss Wildlife. She's doing a better job talking about, yes, it'll be on Rosie's Auction House on Tuesday. We're gonna try to simulcast on my channel too, like we did from Ohio. So providing that works again, which it worked great the last time, we'll hopefully do that. Well, that owl's a really cool thing. I always like those, and this is really neat because I've been looking for more costume jewelry. I've been buying costume jewelry to take out west because I sold a lot in Springfield and I needed some fresh stuff.
Okay, this is whatever that is. I can't tell. Some lapel pin or something.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Let's see if that has
I can't even tell what that is.
Gosh, it's very well made and it has a mark on the back that is...
Don't hit the...
That's fine, I'm not. I think this is a JJ pin, and it's got some deep enameling, and that's definitely a fall pin. So I guess it was worth waiting for because a lot of these are appropriate for fall, and then a little gold wreath pin here. So that was very, very kind of them. And the, oh, Miss Wildlife, actually, yours is pretty close to that size. I think you'll be surprised. So that was very kind, and thank you very much. It's just really nice that people send stuff. I mean, it's just out of the blue and not expected and just really kind. So I've got a box here that came from a lovely lady named Jory in California. And so Jory, if you're out there, I thank you very much, and I will do not need or want to be acknowledged on video. Well, I won't say any more then. Yes, that was very kind, and I'm going to go ahead and yes, yeah, that's another good thing is make someone who sent you something mad.
It looks like she sent you wrapping paper.
I think she sent a whole bunch of fun little stuff. Oh, well, first of all, hey, this is, oh wow, I see some cool stuff in here.
Oh, is this a chalk thing?
I don't think it's chalk. I think it's ceramic. We'll show you folks in a minute here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Rob. Please keep looking for that black tiki god. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, yeah. That's a great glaze. That is right out of the 50s. And that is not a Miller Studio. That one is high gloss glaze. So, well, that might end up in my house.
Oh, and also another Cub Scouts.
Oh, yeah. For your bolo tie, I remember having to use those.
Neckerchief.
And
yeah,
the neckerchief, that's right. I should know that. Boy, what kind of a scout was I?
Not a good one.
Not a good one. I got to first class, found out I liked hiking, and that's all I wanted to do. Space shuttle, that's really cool. Ah, this is great. Obviously, somebody gave some thought to things they've seen me do, and then the box is fun.
Wait, does it have another patch, maybe?
I think that might be it for that. Okay. But even the box is scouting. This is Girl Scout stationery. I don't know whether they sold this before cookies or it was just something you bought and sent letters on from camp. But it's cool. That looks like...
Yes, a lesson to everyone in spelling. It's an E. The stationery.
Yes, that's right. Yes. The Girl Scouts, they better spell that right. They get in trouble otherwise. Okay, let's see what this little box is. Oh, these are neat.
What is that?
This is a set of handles from an old piece of kitchen furniture. This would have been from one of those all-steel kitchens of the 1940s or 50s. The red is a very happy cherry color. It is not Bakelite, but it sure is similar looking. And there is a set of 4, which is great because we often find old furniture from this era that's missing pieces. So these are very handy. And if someone out there needs them for a piece of furniture, let me know. Otherwise, I'll hang on to them before until I get something to use them on.
Bakelite?
Not Bakelite, no. It's a little different color.
It's just
this is going to be more
plastic
50s, and by then, yeah, the Bakelite was starting to phase out in favor of other materials. Gosh, this person did a wonderful job packing all of this. Okay, here's more. Here are more patches. We'll give you those. I'll trade you. And so patches, and lots of pins.
Ski Marble Falls. Dog Patch, Arkansas.
That sounds dangerous. Skiing a waterfall?
What is this? Ironwood, Michigan.
Oh, ski flying. So if you want to jump off of a thing there, you. Oh, yes, thank you. Miss Wildlife is asking if there's anything I'm showing that someone has interest in. Should they contact me via the email address? Absolutely. theantiquenomad@gmail.com. Thank you for that. There's also a bunch of European little, I see some Soviet era pins and some other ski pins from Europe in there, so that's fun. And then we've got a couple, okay, we saw that one. And, oh, that's interesting.
Is it a...
Well, I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to take a look at it and see if we can suss out what that is.
1811, 1911, is that some royal thing?
Interesting. Yeah, this is going to be some sort of a, possibly a regimental, oh wait, 1811 to 1911. Oh, this is interesting. This will take a little bit of study.
What happened then?
Yeah, I'm sure it's the establishment of something related. It looks like it's Royal Navy related. It could be a Naval Academy pin probably from England. I will have to get a loop and look at the middle there, but that is a really interesting little piece, and it would have been made as a uniform or hat badge, so I do think it was probably from a Marine Academy that was established in 1811 and had its centennial in 1911, so I'll have to see if we can find out who that is, because that would give us an indication of who the interested collectors
someone's
are.
asking you about the email. If you go to the website, everything is there.
That's smart.
Yeah, so.
And then last but not least, because they saw me looking at,
oh,
okay, great. That's a very fun piece we'll do some research on. And it might end up in a level 2 if I find anything interesting about it, then we'll share that information with all of you. And let's see, the last one in this box, a whole box of matches. Lots of matches that they used to give out at all these places, and the one that I like is the one you're picking up, actually. That one is from the, it's a Cinerama
Oh yeah,
Hotels.
it's a Cinerama.
Yeah, and of
you
course,
all have been to that in, what is there, one in LA?
Yep.
And in Seattle.
Seattle restored its Cinerama, and you can actually watch movies in Cinerama there. It's pretty great. This one's really fun. This is the Pink Elephant. I like that a lot. Boca Grande, Florida. Oh wow, that's neat. I'm sure that place is long gone. It's a package store, a cocktail lounge, and a dining room. I like how the dining is the last. I bet the food wasn't too good. Anyway, this will be fun to go through. I collected matches when I was a kid, and one thing you might have noticed on that one I just showed you is that this one has the striker on the front, and they did that until about the mid-60s, and then people said, you know, we really ought to put it on the back, because what would happen is people would take the match and light it, and sometimes draw it back and light the entire book on fire. So that's why they switched them to the back at a certain point, because they were tired of people burning themselves. Hopefully that worked. The Sand Dollar. St. Petersburg, Florida. Oh, that's neat. Yep, this is a place that's long gone in St. Petersburg, so this will be fun. Some of these ones that are local interest I'll probably hang on to. So, well, thank you very much. You who I shall not acknowledge again, but thank you. That was wonderful. And then the last one's here, and then we'll get on to some other stuff, is 2 boxes from a viewer in Maryland. I haven't read a note yet, so I don't know whether I should share that person's name or not. And gosh, this is going to take some unwrapping here.
Oh, it's plastic wrap.
It's plastic wrap. So let me look at the other box. I'll give you the hard stuff, and I'll take a look at this so that you guys don't have to just watch us.
ASMR.
Yes, this will be ASMR, or the opposite of. Oh yes, and this is from Mary, who says, I watch your YouTube channel and sometimes you do appraisals for me. Thought you might like these. Well, thank you, Mary. This is very generous of you. And
you mean the appraisals through your website?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, which I finally am caught up on, folks. So if you have interest in appraisal stuff, you can go to theantiquenomad.com and hit the appraisal button. It'll show you how to submit things.
Okay, this is going to be loud, so I'm not going to...
Oh, that'll be fun.
It's got an anchor. I'm just gonna.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't want to clang this, but.
Has anyone collected vintage toilets? I know that sounds gross, but no. Actually, I will tell you the truth. I read where there was a fist fight at an estate sale in California over the avocado toilet because somebody was restoring
I would fight
a house,
over that.
and they wanted that avocado toilet really badly, and so did someone else. So apparently people do collect vintage toilets. I have a yellow one I'm trying to install in my storehouse from the 60s, and I won one of the thrift battles because I had an acrylic toilet seat with sea life stuck in it, and that actually ended up being the winner on that one. So toilet seats also collectible. Who knew?
You never know.
You just never know what people will collect. Now this is a little more obvious thing that people collect. I'll let you hold it up because then I can look for another thing.
It's just a...
Oh, it feels like there's a bunch of Fenton shoes in here. Well,
Is this a Fenton shoe?
That is a Fenton shoe. That is a 1980s, late 80s, early 90s color with that sort of a It's like almost a mauve. And it looks like there's several different colors in here, so maybe I will...
Pink to me.
Well, pinkish. Yeah, it's a little hard to say. It looks like there's a whole box of Fenton shoes here, so I won't make you folks watch me unwrap every one in what feels like it might be 6 different colors, but I am very grateful to have these because I just sold most of my Fenton shoes, so that's very good timing, and thank you very much for that. And then we'll look at a few more things here, and then maybe we'll play a game.
Oh yes, we have, so this will be a little teaser. Do any of you know what this is from? No.
That's the one I wear.
Yes. If you know what this is from, we're going to use the cards to stimulate some
yes.
contentious conversation, I'm sure.
Well, Sean, you said say your cousin's site again. Where this shirt comes from is redbubble.com, and his name on Redbubble is Curb Digger Carl. Okay, this is very heavy, and
yeah, let me do it.
There might be more shoes, actually. I have a feeling this might be a large collection of various shoes because they definitely
these are the like iron shoes that Snow White's Wicked Witch was forced to dance in at the end.
Oh, that's
no,
right.
Wait.
Oh, but it's
not.
No, it's a flying pig.
It's when pigs fly.
Ah. Oh, that's funny. Well, I would say that that should go to Dagny in Pennsylvania, but it's probably going to go to my friend Stephanie because there's a joke about flying pigs with her. This is really cool. This one is a Mack Bulldog, and yes, this is a real hood ornament off of a Mack truck. That's why it's standing up, because it would screw here and then it stands up off the hood. That's pretty cool. And yes, Curb Digger Carl is his site.
Curb.
Yes.
Like the curb of a street.
Like the curb of the street, yeah, because he used to dig when they would rip up the old sidewalks in Denver. He would go bottle digging where the gutters were and find a ton of stuff, believe it or not. Yeah, I actually, I have to say the whole metal detecting, bottle digging thing seems like it could be a lot of fun. And, you know, with all my spare time, haha. But it would be fun to...
Mic there.
Oh, is that all right then? Okay. All right, let's see what this is.
Here, let me do it.
Okay, because I'm noisy. And yeah, I think this one seems to be all metal critters. This is going to be a match, so there's a pair. I'll let you just open the one.
Let me have that one.
Yeah. And I think that is everything. So we're going to see this, and...
No, this is like... Okay, there we go.
Yes. Yes, somebody who's a very good packer.
Yeah. Can you guess what that is?
I have an idea. It has big ears.
Yeah, I think it's a donkey. Or
I think it's...
Yeah, donkey.
I think it's a donkey, and I think I think what it is a pair of bookends, because this one is also a donkey, I can tell. That is cool. So there's 2 of them, and they both have flat sides, so you can put your books between them, and then they hold them up. And it's bulky, too. I like it. Oh, that's great. Constance Robinson. Well, hello there. Nice to see you from Austin. And when did I last shop in a Goodwill? Oh, did we go to one in Evansville?
You mean actually buy something or go in one?
Hey, Rosie. Good to see you. Or Heidi, I should say. We've been telling people that you and I are going to have our live sale on Tuesday.
I don't know. It's been a
Goodwill. I think I hit one in Pennsylvania and found something really great.
Well, Colorado Springs.
And then in Colorado Springs, the Goodwills are good there. And in Seattle, they're good. And they're good in some other places.
That's a contentious statement. There have been plenty of people that have said that the Seattles are not good. So.
Yeah, I keep hearing that, and I wonder what they're looking for, because I find stuff every time, and I have for years. So, you know, of course, we all know different things, and we look for different things. So maybe for what they're looking for, it's high priced, but I find stuff at the Seattle Goodwill.
Yeah, but
the big one.
But don't you just go to the one? You just go to the good one.
Well, I go to that one, but then I go to some of them in the small towns occasionally. And
some of them?
Yeah.
Some of them?
Some of them, yes. So, but anyway, I like Goodwill. depending. And so it just depends where I am, if it's any good. Let's see. Well, anyway, thank you so much. It was really fun to open all of these. It's like Christmas in October. It's wonderful. And a lot of really neat stuff. It was very generous of all of you. So thank you to all of those folks who sent friend mail, and I'm glad I found it again, and I'm sorry that you didn't get to see me do this before now, but like I said, I'm getting caught up. So, since she's in the chat now, Rosie's Auction House, like I say, we're gonna try to simulcast on Tuesday on both channels, but definitely if you don't see it on mine, go to hers, because we know that we're gonna get it through there. And it will be at 7 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. And we will have a lot of fun. We both are bringing some cool stuff, and can't wait. Itll be really good to see her again, and she's actually going to be hanging out fairly close to here, a little vacation / auction pickup. So
yeah, Goodwill's. So yes, well, speaking of Goodwill, not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but apparently GoodwillFinds.com has become more of a thing. I've seen more videos about it. Like, I don't know if it's gone official or what the deal is, but do you remember what that is?
Is that the thing where people can buy from them and then turn around and sell it on their site?
Well, shopgoodwill.com is the place that you buy from Goodwill.
Right.
GoodwillFinds.com is like their eBay.
Oh, so things you found at Goodwill you can put on there and sell.
I don't think you have to have found it at Goodwill.
They'll just take a percentage and you can sell anything.
Yeah. I think. I don't quote me, but I mean, we watched there, there was that interview with the Goodwill guy like a few months ago. And I thought it was basically their online marketplace, like eBay.
Good night, Sean.
Sort of thing. So.
Yeah, it is something sort of like that. I have to admit, it's probably smart for them. They'll get extra commission from anyone who sells through them. They do have a site, people go to it, so there's traffic. It seems a little odd to me that they're...
well, people are saying that, several people are saying in the chat, like, that their Goodwills are not good or mostly junk and things like that. And it definitely does seem like there are just a few places in the country where they're really good for vintage reselling sort of things. Around here, they're good pretty much only for clothes. I mean, it seems like if you wanted clothes, maybe furniture, maybe. So
now somebody is mentioning here that Goodwill has these boutique stores called Blue, and I had heard that was a new concept. I've seen Goodwill boutiques over the years. They had a fantastic one. I think it's still there in Santa Barbara, California. Best Goodwill I've ever been in. It was a boutique. They had an area that was their vintage area that was as good as a lot of antique stores I go into. I don't know what that's like now. I haven't been there in a long time, but
yeah, well,
hey,
Miss Wildlife is saying they brought in too much new, and I don't know. Why do you think that is? Because they maybe have pulled everything good to sell on their website. No one wants to donate to them anymore. I mean, what do you think the reason is?
I think it's easy. I think it's easy for a big, it's different nowadays. It used to be, I worked in the outlet industry. That's part of the connection to the antique business because I was hired to run an outlet mall and they had antique stores and I liked the antique part better. But I remember in the outlet industry, American factories would send their overruns and sell direct to the public. Well, now so much of that is factored offshore, and there really aren't, especially with modern production, there's very few factory seconds now. Things rarely aren't produced correctly the first time. So it's not like there's a whole bunch of merchandise like that going begging. And so what's happening is that when people have overruns, in a lot of cases, it's better for that business to donate it to Goodwill and take the write-off than it is to try to sell it for pennies on the dollar themselves. That's why Goodwill's getting a lot of new stuff. And it's easy for them because, it's...
Are there more Goodwills or fewer than there used to be?
I don't know. I see about the same number in the places that I go. I've seen a few shut down lately. I noticed that
Aren't
one
they
in
bigger
Nashville.
though than they used to be? When they build one, isn't it bigger than it used to be?
Seems to be a little bigger.
Just think about the old ones. Like Evansville has old ones,
right?
You know, like that, and those aren't big. But think about these new, like sort of almost like big box size ones that they build now. And I don't think those existed before.
No, that's true. The one outside of St. Louis is quite large, and it's honestly...
You got to fill it with something.
Well, they fill it with clothes. More clothes, which, you know, that's a great business if you're into the rag picking business. There's definitely money to be made there. I look for vintage stuff, but, you know, it just doesn't come in fast enough, so...
well,
yeah, Lolly says she sees good stuff in the Goodwills, and she's up in Wisconsin. So, you know, it just depends. It just depends where you are. They can be great or they can be not. But, you know, there are other thrift stores too. I've been shopping more at Habitat for Humanity because a lot of the restores are carrying smalls now. And vintage smalls, they're not just doing furniture, so that's definitely a place to look.
But Restore has way better furniture around here than Goodwill. The Restores,
yes,
they're loaded with good furniture here.
Yeah,
compared
they really
to
are.
the Goodwill.
Well, a lot of the Goodwills are not even carrying furniture, and a lot of the Goodwills are no longer having a jewelry counter, and I have to say that's bothersome to me because I see other thrift stores that are managing it. I realize that it's easier for them to throw it in bags and just sell it and all that, but it takes a lot of the fun out of it. And
Evansville Goodwills are not.
They're not good.
Not great. We had the good fortune of being told of a bunch of non-Goodwill thrift stores in the same area, and we've gone to some of them. Some of them were not open the days that we went, but
there'll be a video soon for those of you folks around Evansville. We'll give you some hints because we were kindly given some ourselves.
So it is officially 10 o'clock. So are we going to? Do you want to now move on to the final phase of? Well,
at least this might be a phase, that's for sure.
So anyway, who knows what this is from? Anybody knows what these are from? Yes, no, depends. These are cards from a game. And does anyone know what they're from?
The halo goes here.
Yeah, the pitchfork goes here. So, this was a game that was released in 1986. And
Delaware's Pride.
I think it was. You said that it caused problems.
Oh, I'm a little scared of this game. I haven't played it in so long. I don't remember the rules. I just remember the one time I played it when it was new. I was invited to a friend's house by he and his wife at the time, and a question came up, and it was about have you ever had anyone owe you a lot of money and you just didn't say anything because you didn't want to mess up the relationship? And the host kept badgering me. Answer the question. Quit saying it depends. Quit saying it depends. Who's your problem with? And he did it so much, I turned and looked at him right in front of everybody and said, you have owed me $750 for 3 years. And everybody just sort of stopped, and that was the end of the game.
Well, I don't actually know how you actually played the game. I remember being 10 years old. Yes, I was 10 years old in 1986. And I remember this game being in the house for some reason. I'm assuming that my mother bought it, but I never saw them play it. And I remember thinking it was very strange. Like at a 10-year-old, I'm like, this is a game? How is this a game? But anyway, this is the game. It's called Scruples. And this has been in my awareness ever since then. And when I found it, I thought, okay.
He's been dying to have us do this live, so we're going to see what this is like.
Yes.
I have trepidation.
So these are basically, I know we've never played the Cards Against Humanity thing.
That's fun, but not G-rated enough to be on a live.
Well, it's not G-rated. Well, not a live that's not 18 plus or whatever. But this is sort of like the Cards Against Humanity in the 80s.
No, okay, we'll see. We'll see. We'll just try this and see what it's like. And
well, it's not. I mean, it's not vulgar. It's just I'm saying it's putting you.
Then it's not at all like Cards Against
No,
Humanity.
but it's putting you in positions of, you know, divulging things or that you may not normally divulge or something. I don't know. You know, so anyway, I'm just gonna. Do you want to pull the first card, or do you want me to pull the first card?
So you pulled the first card.
Okay,
I'm gonna let you run this thing.
I don't know what this is about. This was something in the game where you basically say you're either the devil or an angel, or a demon or whatever.
And yes, Theophane Scruples was a filthy Judith Krantz novel.
But these are sort of the choices. So you have yes, no, and maybe. So whenever we'll ask a question, and then you guys in the chat join us in saying yes, no, not maybe, depends, I guess. So am I going to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll see what this is like.
I'm going to cut the deck here, which I just did, and we're going to...
And if these questions are embarrassing and you don't want to answer yes, no, or depends, you don't have to, but definitely curious. I will do my best.
First question. Let me see if I can read it. After dumping you, your lover becomes famous. A magazine offers you $150,000 for your tasteful nude photos of your ex. Do you sell them?
Well, first of all, thank you, Garden Magic. Yes, yes, no, or depends. Yes, so do you sell your tasteful nude pictures in order to get even or get some of that money out of that fortune? My answer would be no. And the reason is a couple of different reasons. First of all, that just doesn't seem like a very good thing to do. Secondly, if it's your ex, you really should just delete. You know, I know this is actually a very current thing because there's been so many situations where people are finding pictures of themselves on the internet posted by exes. So it's obviously a contentious thing, and I would say
yes. I would say yes, and I would run off to Mexico.
Well, that's honest, and yes, you would have to run off to Mexico. You might have to go a little farther than Mexico. No, but I might want to. My wife says depends. Oh, well, yeah, I guess it depends on how badly you behave, right? Yes. That's illegal. Thank you, Udalali. Yes, that is a good point. It is illegal. So that's another good reason not to do that. However, you know, you'd have $150,000 to fight that battle with, I guess.
This is a game. We're just having fun.
Judith Krantz was Sherry Lewis's sister-in-law. That's really interesting. I never would have guessed.
Judith Krantz?
Yeah, the writer. Yeah, she wrote a lot of novels.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You go next.
Okay, let's see here. Just gonna take this. Here we go. And Constance has a good point. If you don't take pictures of yourself, then you don't have to worry about them being out there, do you?
Well, George can tell you about going through old estate sales.
Oh my goodness. When you're gone, the person who looks through your computer, or in the case of estate sales, your old Polaroid photos, is going to find all of them and is going to go, oh my. In a couple of cases, the clients were still alive, and I have to admit it was a little bit hard to look them in the eye. But anyway, okay. Here's the question. As a reporter, you interview a prominent politician off the record. The politician says something vital to the public welfare. Do you report it? You can tell this is 1980s because now nobody has qualms about any of this stuff.
Well, yeah, this is basically Project Veritas at this point.
Right.
Where you do like a, you know, not, what do you call it? Not entrapment, but where you do a hidden camera thing.
Lots of different opinions on this. We've got no's, yeses. I am with Sandra from My Flippin' Van Life, who said depends. That's my answer. I think it would have to be something really, really, really vital for, I mean, I would really have to think this is really vital for the public interest to make that decision, because it's a big ethical question.
I would say depends. I would wear my depends in that regard. I would agree with you. I guess I would have to think, okay, what does constitute, what does it say? Public welfare?
Yeah, that's a pretty broad brush.
Vital to public welfare.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that's an opinion. That's up for debate. So
yeah, we're seeing these are real questions, real ethical dilemmas people are actually having to deal with. So
yeah, well, and also I think that nowadays with social media and everything, it's like you just
yes.
Oh, Teophane, I've gotten them before. I actually pick them up every time someone hands them to me. I always read those things. So, okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is very specific. California grape pickers are on strike and organizing a boycott. The store only has California grapes and you want some. Do you buy them?
Well, I hate to be a waffler, but in my case, I'm going to say it depends. I have mixed feelings. I'm not big on crossing picket lines. I do think unions sometimes have a really good reason. I think I'd have to know the reasons behind it and what they were asking for. I remember, I have to admit, I remember in the 80s thinking that, oh, well, you know, everything is all great and worker relations are so different now and we don't really need this. And then the grocery workers went on strike, and they went on strike because Safeway made $4 billion and then said, we're going to cut all your wages because that wasn't enough.
Well,
and I thought, what?
Getting a lot of no's.
I hate grapes, easy
no. I'm with Sarah. I don't eat grapes, so.
Yeah, most people say no. Very good.
Oh, someone didn't like that because we got a thumbs down.
Oh, I understand. That's okay. How bad do you need a grape? Don't cross the picket line. Yeah, most of you folks would not do it.
Don't cross the picker
good.
line.
Or the picker line, yes.
Okay. Your turn.
That's a dated reference. I remember Meryl Streep got in trouble for supporting the California grape pickers. That's
see,
right.
Teophane, I knew you would know that. It's got to be, these definitely are going to be, you know.
Some of these are going to be relevant to current events of the time, yes. Well, this wouldn't be for you or me, but this is a question. And I have a friend who made a decision like this. You want a child, but your spouse doesn't. Do you stop using your contraceptives and not tell your spouse?
Oh, that's a big one. That's a doozy.
I am going to say no. I'm also going to put a caveat in there. I know someone who made a different decision than that, and the child ended up being wonderful, and everything turned out fine in the end. I still think it's a no.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of no's.
I would definitely, I mean, that's a no. That's a no for me.
Yeah.
That's a no.
Yeah, that just doesn't seem right.
So, yeah, some of these seem like more, you know, we're all going to agree on them. So, okay, the next one is, okay, now this one is more of an easy yes or no. You are planning to quit in 5 months. When your company gives you a high-paying management job, you still intend to quit. Do you tell your boss now?
Okay, well, this is one where George is a schmuck and was in exactly this position, and the answer is yes. I still told them that I was going to leave because I realized that I was leaving for a whole lot of reasons, and that it wasn't about money and it wasn't about having the position. I already had a good position. There were other reasons I was leaving, so that's it.
Well, I would say no. I don't tell them because I don't think anything is carved in stone. Even though I'm intending to quit like months down the road and I still intend to quit, I don't know. I think I could change my mind. Yeah. I know the spirit of the question is that you aren't going to change your mind, but...
Well, that's why there's a lot of depends in here. And that makes sense to me too. And Teophane, I am definitely not better than the rest of you. I just have had a few ethical dilemmas in my life that I've been faced with, and you get to that moment, and it's funny how questions on a card are one thing, but when you actually have to make these decisions, well, you find out a little about things and yourself.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we'll just move on from that one.
Aw. Your cat has been lost for 3 months. You discover that strangers found your beloved pet injured in a ditch, paid $150 for veterinary care, that would be $150,000 now, and adopted it. Do you let them keep the cat?
Well, that's an easy, okay, but it's your beloved cat.
Right. He can't be around cats, so for him it's a big no.
Wait, no,
Yes.
it's a yes, but that's the thing. I mean, this is like a scenario that would never occur. So I have to think of like, would it be my beloved python or iguana?
Okay, well, we'll go with that. Would you let them keep your beloved iguana?
I would well, let them keep it. I mean, do I have the ability to really get it back at this point? How do I like, do I like violently take it from, I mean, like, how do you get this pet back?
Well, here's, yeah, this is the big thing. And I think there's a lot of interesting things. Everyone who's allergic, of course, is saying, yes, let them keep the cat.
Yeah, but it's your beloved cat.
Other people are saying no, but you should repay them, which I think is a good answer.
Yeah.
And yes, they can keep the cat, but I'd give them some money too. That's very nice. They can keep the iguana. I had my iguana for 17 years. It is kind of a toughie. Ask Judge Judy. Yes, that's where a lot of those cases go. I guess, honestly, it depends, but I did have a situation where I traveled. When I started traveling a lot, I had 2 cats, and I left them with a friend of mine, and one cat loved being there, and the other one just was like, no, I don't like this. And she went and attached herself to another family, and when I came back 6 months later, she was part of their family. I just couldn't take her back. It just seemed wrong.
Next question. Moving on from the cat. Oh, this is a good one.
Uh-oh.
You hear a woman screaming in the parking lot behind your apartment building. Do you try to help?
Well, I've had that. Boy, I've had a lot of situations. I'm surprised how much of this it's like I've actually had this situation. So I know that in the case I had, my answer was yes. I actually, I watched a guy chasing a woman who had a pizza. It was very strange. This was in Florida. I think they knew each other, but there was screaming, and she was trying to get away, and he was chasing after her, and I ran out on the porch, and it's like 11 at night, and I hear all this ruckus, and I went out there and screamed at the top of my lungs, "Leave her alone, I'm calling the cops," and he turned around and ran away. And so, yes, I would try to help.
I guess I would say it depends. I mean, it would depend on, like...
Miss Wildlife has a good point. Is the screaming in ecstasy? Well, then that might be a different 911 call.
Yeah, well...
But Beth says she would call 911.
Who knows? Might want to get in on that one.
Rob said that I've had a similar experience.
See, I've never had that kind of experience. I have had I heard someone screaming in ecstasy experience, but I have not had the experience of where this person was screaming and I thought they needed help. No, I mean,
someone else is saying I've been that one. I think when you've been there, yeah, you would help.
I would want to help. I would assess it and see if it was going to, I mean, honestly, put myself in danger.
Well, a lot of people are saying I would call 911
yeah.
and that would be helping. So that seems like a pretty good answer.
I definitely would not just be like, oh, someone's screaming and ignore it.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that. That's just not human. So let's see here.
Okay. Yeah, that's another kind of like pretty obvious one, I think. Yep, your turn.
Ooh, here we go. You snap up 2 excellent seats on a bus and save one, hoping the attractive person you see in line will ask for it. But an old lady asks for it first. Do you tell her it's taken?
Oh, that's easy for me. So wait, the question is, there's someone that I think is hot, or an old lady?
Right, but she asks for it first. Do you tell her it's taken, or do you...
Oh no, I give it to the old lady.
Very good, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, I would give it to the old lady too. Besides, you can always stand up, and that way, no matter where the attractive person sits, you can have an excuse to sidle over to wherever that is. So see, it works all the way around.
Maybe the old lady is attractive.
My mom talks about giving her seat up to an old lady when she was a kid, and it causing a big controversy. So,
really?
Yes. Well, things were different back then. Okay, so what do we have there?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking it was more. Yeah, okay. Anyway, okay. So the next one is: you are shaken up in an auto accident. A lawyer could get you a large settlement if you exaggerate the extent of your injuries. Do you do so?
I'm too much of a Boy Scout for my own good. I suppose this is why I still have to work for a living, because I've had that situation arise, and no, I just wanted to have them fix what was wrong with me, which took a while, but they did. And that was the end of that. So I say no. I realize a lot of people look at it differently, and they figure that they're just going after the insurance, and that that makes it sort of blameless, but I just don't see it that way. And the other thing, honestly, everything, I'm just not a good liar. I get caught, so it's not a good idea.
I will say depends. And because it says large settlement, I would say that if it is more than is needed, I guess I just don't trust like the legal system. I don't trust the lawyer. I don't trust the whole thing. So, but if I knew that I were going to get the amount that was fair and right or whatever, then I would be fine with that. I wouldn't need to exaggerate.
Well, Craft-O-Matic said if you ever want to be seen at a hospital, you might say yes, but not just for more money. And I can understand that. And yeah. Now, I think we have a very honorable, wonderful group of viewers.
Sarah and I are sort of in the same boat, but
yeah, well, things are more situational when you're faced with
in the sea of, scruples.
Yeah, I have to admit that the one thing about this is that, it's so easy when you're not faced with the situation. That's why it's been interesting that some of these have been things I've actually been faced with, because now I know how I really would act.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, this is just all hypothetical. This isn't reality. So anyway, go.
Oh, okay. Aw, these are horrible. You're driving at night and you hit a dog. Do you stop and see that the dog gets medical attention? I always have. I mean, I've only hit one animal, and thankfully it was able to walk away and they took it to the vet. But it's an animal. It can't take care of that itself. You can't just leave it like that. It's my personal opinion.
Yeah, but would you do that if would you do it for a deer? Would you do it for like an animal that you maimed that wasn't a dog?
Well, I've been in 2 vehicles that were hit by deers, and in both cases, the deer ran off, so there wasn't really an option. No, I mean, a dog is likely to be someone's pet. It may have identification. There might be something you can do.
Not around here.
Well, not around here. We actually got rear-ended and our car totaled a couple of years ago because we stopped for dogs in the middle of the road. Everyone else did too, and we were at the bottom of a hill, and someone came flying over the hill and hit us at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
While we were all stopped waiting for these dogs running around.
The dogs were not hit though. They were just trotting around in the road like proud and whatever. But I've never hit a dog or like a pet I've never hit a pet that didn't just kill it. So it wasn't like I don't. But so if it were maimed or hurt, I would definitely stop and try to do something. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a when the deer ran into the vehicle, that was another one. That was a good one too. Yes, the deer charged the car because it was about this time of year. So all you folks who have red cars, be especially careful, because apparently during the rutting season, they see red and they think they should go attack it. So even though we tried to get out of its way, it lunged deliberately and hit the car, and then bounced off the car and then hit the back end of the car, and that was $2,400 in about 2 seconds. So yes, and then it ran away. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely stopped to pick up turtles in the road.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of turtles around here that seasonally do their migration, and then also when it rains. So I do that whenever I can.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
In many states, you have to report you hit a deer to the sheriff's department. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Oh gosh.
Since I drive so many places, it's good to be aware of that.
If that had to be the case here, they would be overrun. I think with sheriff's department. But anyway, so here we go. This is one for you. A friend who is a strict vegetarian is coming for dinner. You're feeling proud of your bean stew until you remember that you used a beef stock. Do you keep quiet and serve the dish?
I'm going to say depends, because it's going to depend on why they're... If they're vegetarian for ethical reasons, I wouldn't serve it to them. If they're vegetarian because they're allergic, I wouldn't serve it to them. I'm not perfectly vegetarian, but I do lean towards vegetarianism, and I'm sure that's happened to me and I didn't know better. So I'm going to say depends.
Yeah, that's the question. I've been there. I've been strict vegan, vegetarian, all that stuff. I would not do it.
Well, and Miss Wildlife put a good point in there. A vegan would absolutely not eat it, but a vegetarian typically wouldn't worry about beef stock necessarily.
Yeah, no, I personally, it's because of my personal situation. Like, I have too many dietary food-related issues that I would not do that.
Oh, Texas lady, you have the wild hogs. Yes, I ran over javelina when I was in Texas once. That was terrible. I had forgotten all about that. And that van, I think that javelina, I think it took over the van and possessed it, because I wrecked the van 2 months later. Let's see. Yeah, you were, oh boy. It's so funny. This is not something that's happened to me, but I have a friend who had this dilemma. You were divorced with 2 adolescent children. Do you let your lover sleep over?
Sorry, say that again. I was looking at
You are divorced with 2 adolescent children. Do you let your lover sleep over? I would say no, because then you have to have a conversation with your children about their boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, and why they can't do that. So, if you're a parent, there's that whole example thing. Still have more videos to watch. Okay, good night.
I would...
Lots of no's, including capital letters.
Gosh. I would say...
There's no context, so hard to say. Yeah, it is hard with the context, yes. Only when the kids were not there. Yeah, that makes some sense.
Yeah, I would not want the kids to be around.
The lover can stay on the couch. That's very funny, yes. Well, all I know is I know one, again, people, and people do things, and I know someone who made the other decision, and...
This is Uncle Bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, too many uncles, yeah. Yeah, no, it didn't turn out well. It wasn't a good idea. So I'm just going to take it from that. Now, Flojo says, I'm grown and they're not. And that is true. And you can certainly say, hey, look, it is different for adults, because it is.
Yeah, to me,
then you have to explain that
to
for
me, it's
everything.
just a personal comfort thing. Like, would you just feel comfortable?
And Diana says, I'm way too liberal, which means that she's, you know, again, I guess honestly, it has a lot to do with, you know, how, I think, again, context. How have you raised them? What is their relationship with this person? It probably is really a depends thing, but it's easy in the context to say no.
Okay, the next one can apply to anything, but they've chosen to make it about a lawyer.
Oh.
Yeah, which, I don't know, they kind of just like leap from one thing to the next. Anyway, your friend and lawyer, oh, your friend and your lawyer, okay, that's what it's implying, is having personal problems that are affecting his or her work. Do you take your business elsewhere?
If you take your business elsewhere.
If it's my lawyer, yes, absolutely.
To me, it depends, because, again, it's hard without context. What kind of a lawyer are they? What's the problem with their work? Is it really affecting me? You know, they're also my friend. How do I explain that? Oh, you're really struggling, so I'm taking my business away from you. I mean,
here's the question. Here's the question. Your friend and your lawyer, so your friend is also your lawyer, and they're having personal problems that are affecting their work. Do you take your business elsewhere?
Flojo says, is my lawyer any good? And Willie Joe says, it depends what my work is. And those are pretty legitimate questions. I mean, again, this is, you know, these ethical dilemmas, it's really easy to say, oh, the right answer is this, but is it? Well, I don't know. I think it would depend. If I'm up on murder charges, yes. Yeah, that's probably a good time to switch to a different lawyer.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
What is he charging you? I like that, yeah.
If you're an attorney, if you're a lawyer, you can take you should be able to handle me dumping you for someone else.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
There's a lot of depends, and I think that is, yeah, I think it is a depends question. There's so many variables that could go into that.
Yeah, I really want to know what this is about. I'm gonna have to read the actual instructions.
I think it's one of these things where once during the game you can pull this up and say, I refuse to answer that question because I'm really good, or I'm going to make you answer that question because I really have to.
Twist of Fate says, no longer going to answer as my Android phone is loud.
No, that could make for some really interesting late answers to questions, yes. A fellow nurse is neglecting their work and endangering the patients. Do you speak to a superior even though it may jeopardize your colleague's career?
Oh.
So if you are working along someone, in this case they said a nurse, and they are neglecting their work and endangering the patients, do you say something to their superior?
A fellow nurse. So you are the nurse and you're working. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I might talk to them first, actually. I'm a big believer in talk to the person and see if you can help them. And then if they don't want to hear it, or they just have no interest in what you're saying, then you bring in somebody at a higher level. That's how I would handle it.
I guess it depends on what they're doing. Again, endangering, that sort of maybe is up for debate on what you consider endangering, but because sometimes if people are doing something and you talk to them, my mentality is, you already know what you're doing. Why should I try to convince you? You already know.
Yeah, I guess I've just managed a lot of people where I found that I thought they knew and they maybe didn't or said they didn't, and another opportunity to clarify things sometimes helped, and sometimes it made no difference at all. So, you know, how it comes out, but I think I'd go that way. They are on drugs and murdering the patients. Well, in that case, I would say yes. That's probably a time to say something to somebody, yes.
That's good, yeah.
What if one of them was a family member in the hospital? I guess it depends how I felt about that family member, but I would generally think that that would be an encouragement.
So much for you being a good person.
I can't think of anyone in my family I would really leave in the lurch.
Yeah, these are obviously, you know,
this game can get people in trouble, Carol. Absolutely. I think this game can be very, very dangerous.
Oh wow, this is invent a question of Scruples.
No, I'm not going there. I'm going to take the next card.
Well, it's me anyway.
Oh, well, there you go. You get to choose. If you want to invent a question, you go right ahead.
Okay, I'll give a similar sort of setup, but it will be a different scenario. So let's say that you have a neighbor whose dogs bark incessantly, and they let them bark incessantly, and they make no attempt to stop them from barking incessantly.
And the police have been called several times.
And
this is happening here, by the way.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It already it happened. It's over. But would you try to talk to them? Okay, this is not a neighbor that you have this is a neighbor that you have no you're not on speaking terms. Not because you're angry, but you just don't know them. So would you have your very first attempt at meeting them be that you would, you know, complain to them about their dogs? Or would you just go directly to filing complaints with the city?
I'm always a big believer.
Or would you not care and just think and think to yourself, well, okay, if the police came, they didn't do anything, then they're getting away with things, and that means that maybe I can get away with some annoying things too.
There is that. So I guess depends would be the question. A lot of good things here. I agree with Willie Joe. I do think you try to talk to them first, at least once. You give them the courtesy of at least trying to deal with the situation. I just always believe that you start with the person you have a problem with. You don't immediately go over their head to somebody else, because that just means I'm not going to communicate with you ever, and then how are you going to resolve anything?
Yeah, but what if you just know that they're not the kind of person that's going to respond well to that?
Oh yeah, well, that's useful, because you just keep a little bit of information about that, and then if you have to go to a higher level, well, you just say, I made this attempt, I've already tried talking to them, here's what they did, and there you go. And then you give it to someone else to deal with.
See, I would ultimately just be like, they're getting away with something that isn't great, but it's not something horrible, and I probably would just view that as, you know, I can do the same.
We've got a couple in here that say they're having that situation now, and one says, I can't bring myself to say something because if they don't care about it enough to even notice, then it seems moot.
Well,
someone else said they did talk to them and worked out a resolution, and because they started with them and that it's working so far. So
I am that neighbor.
Our neighbors were good, saved several neighbors from death. Yeah, again, I think if you're talking to your neighbors, our situation here, because this is based on an actual thing, and I don't know what happened while I was gone, but you're right, I don't hear the dogs anymore. Did they move?
Oh, no.
No, they're just doing something different, because, yeah, it was like, not even our neighbor, like 2 blocks away, just all night long. And I mean, they shut them on this little porch by themselves, and then they go berserk because they're shut out of the house, but they can't get out.
They quit putting them outside at night.
That,
I think,
that
or they're
might
gone.
be why
I
we're
don't
not
know.
hearing. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to cause problems for the dogs or the neighbor either, but it does seem like something you could talk about, usually. Okay. As an architect, you have completed a final design for new corporate headquarters. The client wants changes that will destroy what you consider your masterwork. Do you risk losing the $125,000 in fees by flatly rejecting their changes?
Okay, that one's very complicated. As an architect, you have completed a full design for a new corporate headquarters. The client wants changes that will destroy what you consider your masterwork. Do you risk losing by flatly reject? Oh, no, not at all. I want the money.
I think most people would make that decision. I think professionally, I would probably say the same thing. I would take the money and hold my nose and figure that was part of the job. And I know a lot of people who are architects, and they often complain about this exact thing. So I think it's kind of expected that, you know, there are going to be changes, and it's not you using your money to build your vision. So you have to accept that it's not always going to go that way. Ego.
Oh,
exactly.
are they not legible? It's hard to hold them still. Yeah.
In this case, the customer is always right. If they're paying,
I think
then,
so too.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do.
I mean,
it's hard because I know as an architect, in a way, it's like it's an artistic thing. I tried going to grad school in architecture and urban planning. I didn't last long, but I did learn one interesting thing, and that was that architecture is taught to, at least in Washington State, the architects are this group and they learn these things. The building construction people learn these things, and then they fight once they get out of college because the architect designs stuff that the building construction people say can't be done, and then they are at loggerheads all the time. Why those two things aren't integrated, I don't really know.
Oh, Miss Wildlife. Yeah, I know it was a different card. We're gonna do one more, and then we will just sort of see if you have any questions, and then call it a night.
Have a little chat and
probably.
chat. Yeah.
So the last one of these, we don't want to,
Yes.
you know. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So this one is, while drinking in an out-of-the-way bar, you see a friend's spouse having a romantic tete-a-tete. Do you mention it to your friend?
Yikes. But that's a nice one. Oh boy, I would think that I would. I mean, if it's someone who's a real friend, but boy, that's a really sticky one. How do you address that? I mean, do you talk to their spouse first? That's a really hard one. The only thing I've ever come up with like that was this is so horrible. When we used to mail out the antique quarterly newspaper, I was driving to the post office with it all, and I stopped to have lunch, and when I came out, it's like 3 in the afternoon, and this couple are making out in the parking lot. Like, I don't know how they could even breathe. It was kind of disgusting, actually. And I just immediately had this thought that it's the middle of the afternoon, and these people are having an affair, and they've snuck off, and I was so bothered by it. I rolled the window down and said, "Hey, what does your husband think of that?" And they both jumped about 5 feet, and I thought, I knew that's what you were up to. So I'm not always that nice, but it was funny.
May I answer?
Yes, please.
I would want to tell them, but I wouldn't.
A lot of folks are saying that. I'd stay out of it. Depends if there's kids involved, I'd just stay out of it. If the friend brings it up, I would, but if the spouse won't believe you, yeah, these are all bad things. And then Flojo says, I probably would say it because I'm really bad at keeping something like that a secret. And yeah, that's a tough one too. Well, that's a really lovely moral dilemma to end on. I guess depends is the answer. I want to say that, oh yes, you should do what's right and tell everybody, but things are complicated. I had, there used to be a show called the Art Deco Show in San Francisco, and there was a couple who ran it, and it was a great show, and it did really well. And one year I went to it, and I saw the wife having a little moment with another person in the back of the place, and I remember being kind of shocked by it. And I said something to my friend who I did the show with, and he said, "Oh, don't say anything, they're swingers." And I was like, what?
Well, that's a possibility too. Maybe it's acceptable.
I like definitely know let the cheater know you saw them. I think that's actually a great way to approach it, is say, I know something's going on and other people are going to find out too, and then you let them deal with their moral dilemma.
Yeah, the card was implying that you were unseen.
Right.
But yeah, sure, I get it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting ones. Well, I hope all of you don't have to deal with anything like any of that. That was a very interesting, and once again, I find this game very stressful.
Well, it's not really a game. I mean, I don't know how it's a game, but yeah, it's just sort of topics for discussion, and you know.
Marcia Armstrong says, I would never tell the spouses, they never believe you, and then the wife says, you're just jealous and you become the A. And yeah, I've seen that happen before too. And then years later, remember the old movies or the old sitcom Soap? They played that so well, because Chester Tate is always cheating on Jessica, and she always makes up an excuse for him, and everyone else does too, and it goes on for ages and ages until she finally finds out. And and everybody else knows what's going on, so it's kind of sad. You never know what the story
Someone
is.
says, thank God. Someone says, thank God there were no political questions.
Oh, yeah, don't need any of that stuff. And yes, Soap was great.
Well,
I love that show.
Are there political questions in it? Probably nothing specific, because it would be dating it too much if they put in anything like specific.
Marcia says, I've lived a day or two and have made mistakes myself with this. I understand, I have too. I remember in high school, I was always somehow Mr. Fix-It for all of my friends' relationships, and this stuff would come up, and oh, that never went well, and that was never the person you wanted to be, because in the end, they either made up and you were the bad guy, or they didn't make up and you were still the bad guy because you brought it up in the first place. So yeah, I learned.
Well, yeah, and you know, all of these things, I mean, there's no judgment or, you know, anything like that. It's all just food for thought.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that was fun. And yes, that was actually interesting and definitely food for thought. And I am very happy. I have to say, once again, this makes me so happy to be in my nice little antique bubble where I'm sure these things happen, but they're all outside.
You were older. So you were older. What year were you involved in this game?
Probably when it was new.
Okay. See, you were old enough. You're older than I am enough that you were an adult and you were
just barely.
You were able to actually like get it. Where I was just like, this is a stupid game. Like as a 10-year-old, I was like, what kind of a game is this? This is boring and this isn't fun. You know.
Well, I'm sure it was fun and interesting for the people assembled.
I mean, not to say that I was an innocent 10-year-old. It was just, it seemed like a boring game. So it was definitely like but I thought that Trivial Pursuit was boring, you know.
Well, I like it, but you grow into it.
When you're a kid, you know, it's boring unless you're, you know.
Lost Tapes in My Basement says, shout out my friend Aaron Fector, I hope I'm saying that right, is a big fan of your channel and a collector like me. He loves your channel. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. And it's...
we don't know who Aaron
I don't, but if you're watching, Aaron, I thank you very much, and it's great to have you as part of the community and all of you folks.
Barely an adult.
Yes.
George said he was barely an adult. You were barely an adult.
I was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's well, depending on when we determine what an adult is, but.
This sent you the email, looking forward to your answer. Definitely will check that out, Delphina. This game would be good after a couple of shots, or bad. It might result in a couple of shots. My parents have one of the first 1,000 copies of Trivial Pursuit. That's actually worth some money. That's such a famous game, and the original little short edition. I think that came out in '83 or '84, as I recall. I think it was '84. But, oh, that's pretty cool. Flojo graduated high school. Yeah, you're just a couple years behind me there. So, yes. So, wow, well.
So what's, excuse me. So what's coming up?
What's coming up? Oh, gosh. Good question. Okay, so we've got the sale with Heidi from Rosie's Auction House is Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be really fun. She says she's bringing some pretty good stuff, and I am too. So we'll look for you there, and then we've got
it's gonna be
and then we've got let's see, there's the regular Monday and Wednesday broadcasts at 8 p.m. Eastern. For level 3 members, if you're out there watching, if you have any topics for this month, that's coming up very soon. Check the membership tab for our live chat, and I am definitely interested. I have some ideas to talk about, but I love getting your input, and it often shapes the conversation in those live chats. So drop me an email if you're a part of that group. And 10-year-old question: your sibling has money hidden in their top drawer. You really want to buy candy. Do you borrow the money without asking? See, there you go. They should have written a children's version.
That doesn't sound like it's hidden if you know about it.
Yes, I can say oodalali that I did used to occasionally borrow money from my sibling out of her top drawer, and I would always put it back. And one day I didn't, and I got caught, so I quit doing that. So the answer used to be yes and changed to no. That's how you develop ethics.
Yeah, I was
having
more.
Your sister go, ugh.
I didn't have siblings, but I did have. I'm more like, I will leave your stuff alone, you leave my stuff alone, but if you come after my stuff, I'm going to pay you back.
Yeah. Well, that's how only children get to be, because they can protect their stuff better.
Well,
hello, Sharon. Nice to see you.
So, level 3, check your scruples here. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see, so there's that, and then we're going to have, I'm going to be in Portland, Oregon, the 20th and 21st. I believe those are the right dates for the Rose City Vintage Market. It's going to be the fall show. They did it last year for the very first time in October, and they're doing it again, and I'm really looking forward to going to there. I have a friend in Spokane who we will probably do a garage sale there the following weekend, and there will be a lot of vintage. I don't know if it's going to be great stuff, mediocre stuff, in between stuff, but stay tuned. If you're in that area, we'll definitely have notices out on Craigslist and the usual places.
Someone's asking if I'm a Scorpio.
Interesting.
I have Scorpio rising, and I have very strong Mars and Pluto.
Pluto, like you don't talk much. Wrong
No,
Pluto.
Wrong Pluto.
Can you still have things in Pluto now that Pluto's not a planet?
We don't have things in Pluto.
I thought you had like your something houses in Pluto.
Pluto's in a house.
Oh, Pluto's
the house
in a house.
isn't in Pluto.
Pluto's in a doghouse.
Sure.
I obviously don't know as much about astrology. Let's see. Okay, what else? So that pretty much, I think, gets us through October. And then in November, I will be back in Florida for the opening and usually the hugest of the 3 Mount Dora antique extravaganzas near Orlando. The November show is the weekend before Thanksgiving, and it's actually generally the largest of the 3 because all the Florida dealers, and poor Florida with what they're going through, a lot of the folks down there who did not have problems are getting ready for the show, and they are piling stuff up, and a lot of them come out and bring things because they've been shopping all summer and fall, which is the slow season there. So that should be a lot of fun. So, you know, there'll be other stuff too, but that's what I can remember off the top of my head. Am I missing anything obvious?
No, excuse me. You're always gone. You're always on the road. You're always coming and going. So it's hard to keep track of all of it.
Well, it is. And Karen's asking if he travels with me, and
typically not. I'll do local travel, like when he's here. If he's staying here and he's traveling locally, like day trips and stuff, I'm good for like a day trip. But I get really overstimulated with all of the stuff, I guess I should say, and so I can't take more than basically one day of it without needing to retreat.
Yes, and I can keep going for probably a couple of days before I need a break. So I definitely, you know, I definitely would be more productive if I had you driving and I was working my way across country in the car. I'll tell you that. One of the reasons I got so far behind is because I've been doing so much long distance traveling, and you know, there'll be 3 or 4 days where I literally only am driving all day long, and that's really all I can do each direction. So that's a little bit of a grind, but it's great when I get to the other end, and there's always fun things to stop and see along the way. So
Southern Mermaid is asking what my sun sign is.
Do you know? You probably.
What? Are you kidding? George.
He knows everything except the obvious one. No, tell him what it is.
Well, yeah.
Someone said they're singing your song.
They're singing my song?
Yes.
I'm an Aquarius.
Yes. The age of Aquarius right there. And so on that note, when am I going to slow down a bit? Well, there's a legitimate question. I feel like I am slowing down just a little, finally, because like I was saying at the top of this broadcast, I just now finally I've just had piles of back work and things I hadn't gotten done, and I literally today I feel like for the first time, it's not that there aren't other things to do, but I feel like I'm actually caught up to this moment, and that's the first time I've felt that way all year, really, honestly. So because of that, I made myself a deal that this month I would not take on any additional business or obligations until I got myself caught up. So now I feel like I'm hopefully going to be able to roll at a more reasonable pace. So
yeah, well, people are talking about driving and not liking the driving. Someone's saying that. And yeah, I used to drive all over the place. I mean, you know, I used to love it. But for me, I like new experiences. Even though I like routine in my like home life, like I like routine, I like novel things when I'm out. And I've just done so much traveling around in this country. I don't know, I guess I just sort of, seems like the places you're going, I've been a million times too.
Well, so there is that, yes. You know? Yes. Constant Robinson says, there was a bunch of discussion over what's my sun sign, and somebody pointed out correctly that I am a Leo, and Constance Robinson says that Leo makes sense. They're really into their hair. She must have seen me fidgeting with my hair the other night. I am not used to having... Yes, I am not used to having long hair, and I have to admit it is something I'm just like, oh, no, it's got to be, and yeah, it's a terrible hangover from junior high school. I unfortunately I hit puberty right during the disco era, and when big feathered hair was the thing and you were supposed to look a certain way, and my hair doesn't do that, so I always had a little bit of a hang up about my hair, and so I fuss with it far more than I really have any right to do.
Carol says she's an Aquarius dating, or not dating, husband is a Leo.
A
and
Leo,
an only
interesting.
child as well.
And somebody else said that they were dating an Aquarius and that it was very hard but worthwhile. And I definitely, I've heard that too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I seem kind of shy for a Leo. Well, you know, it's interesting. I can be really outgoing, or I can be really, I'm sort of a...
He has a Cancer moon.
Right, so there's a little bit of like extrovert / introvert with me, and some days one comes out more than the other, so there is some truth to that. Generally, I'd say I'm pretty extroverted, but when I'm ready not to be, I really am just like, I'm invisible, don't see me.
I want to see high school pictures.
Oh dear, yeah, you really don't, they're not good. But here's the deal, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Well, that made everything
Do you still
quiet.
have high school pictures?
No,
Do you even know where they are?
Yeah, I have. Oh, yeah, I have my graduating, my high school picture for graduation. I'm the only one who looks like people actually looked in my high school because I missed, this is terrible to say, but you know, I graduated so I can say it now. When I got my acceptance to college and knew I had to work to try to raise money for college, I kind of quit going to school very much, other than just enough to get by. And so I missed 4 different photo days, and the last day I came in, they're like, you're having your photo taken right now the way you look with what you're wearing. So I am the only one wearing the approved uniform of the Northwest in the early 80s, which was just like the grunge. It was total grunge. Grunge was around way before it became famous for whatever reason. Flannel shirt, plaid over a t-shirt with the hair pulled back, and that was the picture. And everyone else is wearing a suit or a tux or a tie, and there's me looking like scroungy grunge guy. But that was what everyone else really looked like. So at least there's one true picture in that yearbook.
I tried. There was a point at which I refused to go have the school picture taken.
Yeah.
I was the picture or not pictured.
Not pictured.
Like name.
That was you. Well,
for a while, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is then in college we had yearbooks and you didn't really have to be in it. And I thought, oh no, it'll be fun. So I went ahead and had a picture taken and I saw this woman there. And then when I went, and she got her picture taken. And then I was walking by a few days later, I'm like, I swear that's the same woman. Well, she looks a little different. This one woman in our college had her picture in the yearbook 12 times. She pretended to be different people.
Oh, you mean in the part that you're supposed to be individuals, or just like...
In the part you're supposed to be individuals, because they would post your student number and your name with your test score. So she'd just go randomly get someone's student number and name and say that was her. And they just, oh, okay. Have your picture taken. So yeah, she had a dozen pictures of her looking in different guises in the yearbook. It was very funny.
Wow.
Yeah, after they caught that, then they started doing something about that. But that was kind of a game.
Yeah, someone asked what your rising sign is. I've told you.
Yeah, and I should remember it. I don't.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius, okay. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Leos have a reputation for being very egocentric, and so whenever anybody starts talking about your sign, and they look at me and say, what's your sign? And I say, well, I'm a Leo, and then they give this look, because people think a certain thing when you say you're a Leo, and then they would, after they got over the look, they'd look at me and say, well, aren't you going to ask me what my sign is? And I would say, no, I'm a Leo. Why would I care what your sign is? And that would always take care of the conversation. So I never learned all this other stuff.
Right now, please. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed something there. Yeah, didn't catch that one. Sorry about that. Virgo here, yes. I have an aunt and a very good friend who are Virgos. I don't know, I think there's probably, it seems to me that there's interesting features of all signs in terms of astrology. So I'm a Leo too, there we go. I have a sweet Leo niece. See, you can be sweet and be a Leo, it is possible.
Yeah, Leo men and women are very different.
I'm not sure how to take that, but sure, okay, that's great. Sagittarius, very good. Leos don't care, exactly. It's the important thing to know with the Leo is the lion and you must stroke the pussycat. And if you do that, you'll be fine with your Leo. Anyhow, we've got Pisces and Libra. My mom's a Libra. In fact, my mother is having her 90th birthday tomorrow. So
oh, is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow, yes.
You're not a house cat. You're an alley cat, though.
Nah, well, that might be true.
You're like, you know, out with the junk in the alley.
And, yeah, that's true. That's true. Diana says she's a Pisces. I dated a Pisces, and that was actually a great relationship. So, yes, men and women are different. See?
Yes, men and women are different. Yes.
Capricorn.
I'm saying the way Leo women have been. I mean, anyway, whatever.
Don't Leos also value justice? Yes, actually, we do have a reputation for that. I have to say I was certainly brought up that way by my Libra mom. And oh, your mom turned 90 on Thursday. That's great. And how sweet of you. I'll have to tell her that you all said hello and happy birthday. She's quite a collector. At some point I'll have to film her. She's especially likes cats. So she's got a pretty extensive collection, but she got me into all of this as a kid. She collected old mystery books, and she's got a great collection of old pulp mysteries from the 40s and 50s, and she used to have all the Oz books, and you know, she definitely has been a collector a long time, and that's where all of us kids got into it. So I definitely thank her for that and lots of other good stuff.
You've got all that footage that you got from...
I do have footage from her, and I need to kind of tighten it up and figure out what's missing, and I'll get that out maybe for, I don't know, maybe for Mother's Day next year or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your mother turned 86 today. Wow, a lot of mom birthdays. I'm a Gemini. What does that mean for me? Well, Geminis are the twins, and my dad was a Gemini, and there were certain ways that the twins supposedly is like there's parts of you that want to do one thing and then want to do the opposite thing, is what I've been told. My dad wasn't really like that, I have to say. But that's supposedly a Gemini trait.
Verbal, dexterous,
yes.
With your hands.
Yes, he was definitely those things. Misty at Thrift or Junker Vintage Hunter is a Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about oftentimes feeling like she's got a split personality and goes different directions. So my great uncle will turn 100 in Oregon on the 10th of October. Oh, that's really great. Last of my grandfather's family. Oh, that's wonderful. Wow, 100 years old. Well, I'm planning on making it. I have, I know what cake I want for my 100th birthday. I want the same one that I had when I turned 8, and my mother said I could have any cake I wanted, and I said, and ice cream. And I said, great, I want orange cake with chocolate frosting and mint chocolate chip ice cream. And she just went, ugh. And I said, you said I could have anything, so that's what we got. And when I turn 100, that's what I want.
Oh, carpetbagger, that sounds like a problem.
The carpetbagger.
God.
Oh dear, yes. Well, you know, Fenton cleans up really well. That's a good thing. Hey, Blue Feather. Oh, looking forward to seeing you next month. Yes, okay, there is something I didn't talk about. Appraisal fairs. In addition to the other stuff I talked about, on the 5th of November, I will be back in Harlan, Kentucky doing an appraisal fair. I did the appraisals up there. That is up in the middle of Appalachia. It's a beautiful place. You may have, if you watched the show Justified a few years ago, it was set there. And I had such a good time at the appraisal fair last year, and people brought some really amazing stuff. In fact, a woman who asked not to be identified brought a piece of porcelain that was the most expensive thing I've ever seen come to an appraisal fair. She brought pictures rather than the piece itself. I could understand why after I saw the piece, and she told me why, because she didn't want to move it around. Worth in the high 5 figures. So you don't know where things are going to show up. There were a lot of interesting things there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that again. I will be doing an appraisal fair the think it's the following week, the end of the following week. I'll have to get the addresses there, in the Florida Panhandle in a little place called Greensboro. And they are the West Gadsden Historical Society. So it's the historical society for the county who's putting that on. And then I'm thinking, do I have a third appraisal fair scheduled somewhere? No, I think, oh yes, I think I do actually, but the third one is a private one. It's out in Washington State, but it's for a retirement home, and that's for the retirees who live there and their family to come to. So that one is that one's closed. It's not available to the public, but I'll try to film and share some of the stuff. I found sometimes the appraisal fairs in the retirement homes are really good because the families will come because it's an event and they want to know about the stuff that mom and dad have left. And a lot of times by the time you get to assisted living, you have kept just a few of your really most prized possessions. So some really great things come out. So we'll have fun with that too. Come to the Jersey Shore. You know, at some point I have definitely, I definitely am open to doing appraisal fairs and meet and greets and stuff in a lot of other places that I haven't been yet. So you folks who if I haven't been to your part of the country, we did a little poll recently and found some clusters of folks who really wish I would come and see them. So we're going to try to figure out ways and reasons. But, you know, I do it. I'm often hired by philanthropic organizations or historic societies or things to come in and do these things as a fundraiser. So that's how I get around. And the people, well, the people at the fairs are excited to meet me, and I have to say the feeling is mutual. I took this whole YouTube thing at the beginning because I really wanted to bring the real world of antiques and vintage to people online and see those worlds collide a little bit. And it has happened, and it's just really been fun. When will you be in the Boston area for appraisals? I would love to be next year sometime up in New England. I'm not sure where yet. I've been talking a little bit with Dom at Primetime Treasure Hunter about maybe doing something around the time of the Madison Bookville show. I might do the Madison Bookville show next year. I might do Brimfield. I mean, it's too far in advance to be thinking much past the Florida season coming up. But you know, we'll let you know. And I see a lot of people in Maine and Vermont have actually been very welcoming and would like me to come up there too. And those are beautiful areas. And there's actually a lot of great stuff up in New England. I went to just some little flea market in the middle of nowhere that just popped up and spent $1,000 in an hour. I mean, I was amazed how much great stuff was there. So let's see, Canada. Well, I'd like to get to Canada. It seems like things are starting to open up a little more there. It's been a long time since I've been up there. We've been shut out for a few years, but I always love to go up there and shop because you have different things. I especially have always done well at the Vancouver Flea Market and the Cloverdale Flea Market in British Columbia. Those have both been a lot of fun. That's where I started buying Blue Mountain pottery and bringing it back to the States before anyone in the States really collected it. And I really like that stuff. Anyway, I still go back to watch your first videos. Aw, that's sweet. Some of them are a little cringy, but they've gotten better with time, and it's fun to look. Well, let's... Boakville, yes. Boakville, not Bookville. Okay, thank you. Come to Ontario instead. Well, Ontario I'm long overdue for, that's for sure. And gosh, all these wonderful invitations. Well, thank you. When will you next be near St. Louis? I'm not sure.
I'll make him go up there sometime.
St. Louis is on the list. So. He likes it, and I haven't shopped there much, and there's that whole Cherokee Avenue antique district that looks really neat, but the one time we went there, it was a Monday, and everything was closed, which I have to say drives me nuts, because being an antique dealer, a lot of times you have shows, you're busy on the weekend. Monday, you've got a pocket full of cash, and I would sure like to be able to go to stores, but so many of them are closing on Mondays now. If they're gonna pick a day of the week, why not a Tuesday or a Wednesday? I don't really know why Monday gets the short shrift, but anyway, Just a
Everyone's
little
tired from the
commentary.
week being open on the weekend.
Well, right, because they've been doing it too. I get that part. But we used to do great business with dealers on Mondays. We might not have any retail customers in, but the dealers would come and scarf it up because they had sold over the weekend. Anyway, I guess we're just sort of rattling on here, and I do have to get up in the morning. We've got to move a
We have a
roll
big
top
piece
desk.
of furniture to move that we're not looking forward to, and you get to go
and then I go to
work on your booth for a while.
Yes, that's right. I'll be at Twin Lakes. I know I'm meeting someone who's in the chat here, and I have everything packed, I promise. And so I guess that's it, and we'll just sign off for now. But thank you all for hanging out with us. We just, you know, we don't get to do enough live content, and this was a moment where we were free. And when we realized, because we went to watch it and they weren't there, that Flippin' and Sippin' wasn't on this weekend, we thought, well, okay, we'll bring a horrible game, and
yeah, we're not selling anything. And,
will I do another storehouse sale? Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out how to fit one into the fall schedule because I am bringing stuff to fill it. With that in mind, stay tuned for announcement of date. I haven't quite figured out how to get it into the calendar, but it's definitely something I want to do and is part of my long-term strategy to relieve myself of a couple of storage lockers that have stuff that I would rather have in the hands of collectors. So
yeah, and if I'm going to do your sign off. Say all the things.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, let me see if I can even remember all the things. First of all, thanks you to all of you who are members, and you can check that out in the description. Thank you to some of you folks who've taken on Patreon. We are doing some extra bonus videos that are going out to those members first, but then we'll go to everybody. I've got 3 different sites now. We're here at the Antique Nomad Live channels. Thank you. The Antique Nomad Live. We have a new The Antique Nomad Shorts channel, so when you just want a quick tip or something fun when you're sitting there and have a minute, they're literally a minute or less. And we're starting to fill that with content, and because, you know, we all need something to do while we're waiting in the line, right?
And the website.
And the website is is the Antique Nomad.
Right, and what's new on the website?
What's new on the website?
What's going to be happening?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, we actually just started we're starting to do a little bit of direct selling on our website. We actually put up, I think, 9 costume jewelry items and sold about half of them. That just happened a few days ago. So you can check out the website, and we will periodically have merch there.
Well, not merch. No, merch implies like t-shirts and stuff. Let me say what we're going to do.
Thank you.
For level 2 members and higher, you will get early access to these online sales that are on the website only. They're going to be like drop sales. Like, here's the link, go to the website, buy them, check out, whatever. And that's what George is starting to do a little bit. And we just did a little teaser, and he's going to have more coming. So that's also going to be something we're going to do more of.
Okay, very good. Thank you for explaining that better. And the very last thing, no, there is not an Antique Nomad OnlyFans. And yes, I've had a couple of requests, and no, I'm sorry, I'm not, that's not going to be a revenue stream for me. The other thing is, Sharon, thank you for mentioning, I will mention one more time, check out Heidi and I on Tuesday at 7 p.m. That'll be the next time we're live, hopefully on this channel, but if you don't see it here, go to Rosie's Auction House, because I know we're doing it on her channel, and we're going to try to simulcast it on this one as well.
So, and with that,
I guess good night, everybody, and thank you for hanging out with us.
If you're on the East Coast, it's after midnight, so it's officially Sunday. Have a good Sunday and the rest of your week next week, and we'll see you in the premiere on Monday at 7.
And the most important thing is, like in the old days, they would say, it's after 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Or your cats or dogs or whatever's running loose.
Yes, whatever your children are, go fetch them because it's time for them to be in bed.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us, everybody. We're going to say goodnight now and see you soon.
Good night.
Bye-bye.